Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Revenant launches tomorrow at the time of recording, and coming off of my last video, I wanted to discuss the best builds of the final shape and echoes. But rather than just take these builds and showcase them to you in their current form, I wanted to look at how they might be evolving come Revenant. I'm also making this video to figure out if something new will take the crown based on all of the info we know. And to be upfront with the builds, they are Getaway Artist Prismatic Warlock, Combination Blow Prismatic Hunter, and Consecration Titan. The thing with discussing the best builds is that they're pretty boring. But if you just want to skip to the discussion about these builds in the context of Revenant, timestamps are present below. So beginning with the ever popular Warlock build of Getaway Artists, the exotic of choice is pretty obvious. When it comes to pairing that with a weapon, you don't need anything special. Getaway Artists and our Prismatic subclass carry the entire thing. And this fact is actually true for the other builds we'll look at. In my mind, a good build puts few restrictions on your weaponry, allowing it to perform in all activities. But back to Getaway Artists. The exotic perk is Dynamic Duo, where you just consume your grenade and it becomes an arc soul. But another big part of this exotic is that when you consume that grenade, you become amplified, which is actually pretty important for this build. Then taking that straight into our subclass, the abilities are as follows. Our grenade needs to be Storm Grenade, we run Arcane Needle for darkness damage, Phoenix Dive is our class ability, but this is mostly preference, and then our super can be anything. Song of Flame is still pretty busted, and Nova Bomb is great for instant DPS. But where we begin to build into Getaway Artists is with Hellion and Feed the Void. Hellion paired with an Arc Soul can actually handle most enemies in the game. Arc Soul deals constant damage, Hellion causes ignitions, even big health enemies like champs will die from this combo given enough time. You can also run Bleak Watcher, but I like to be more mobile, and a stasis turret obviously doesn't follow you. Then with our second aspect, Feed the Void gives us Devour for essentially free, which means we always have a grenade ready and get the insane survivability from full health on any kill. And then, while almost unnecessary with how good this build already is, the fragments of choice are Hope for reduced class ability cooldown, Protection for some DR, Dominance to make our base grenade jolt, and then Courage for 10% more ability damage on dark debuffed enemies, and Purpose for some super base survivability, Restoration or Void Overshield in my cases. And then where armor mods and artifact perks are concerned, literally anything for your armor is fine. Resists, Finders, Scavs are all you need. And inside our artifact, the big ones were Galvanic Armor for extra DR while amplified, and then Shield Crush for increased grenade regen or amplified. The latter was pretty optional, but Galvanic Armor will be greatly missed. And this is honestly the best thing to come from becoming amplified on consuming your arc grenade. And then before looking at how this build will change come Revenant, the gameplay loop. Consume grenade, use class ability, proc Devour, and slay out. That's literally it. And for such a low skill ceiling, our outgoing damage is increased by a ridiculous amount. But now looking at this build in Revenant, there isn't a ton that's changing. Getaway Artists and all the subclass options avoided any big sandbox changes, and the biggest alteration will simply come from the artifact, but only because we lose artifact synergy. Come next season, there's nothing there that feeds into Arc Soul or really amplified. It's just too stasis focused. But with that said, replacing Hellion with Bleak Watcher may be what gets shaken up to make use of artifact perks like Brain Freeze and Hail the Storm. Ultimately though, when it comes to the scale of best builds, I don't think Getaway Artists are going anywhere. Whether you're using Hellion or Bleak Watcher, this is just simply too good at base without any investment, and I think you're still going to see a lot of it. Alright, that was a long one, so now we'll be going a little quicker as we talk about Combination Build Hunter. To be honest, there isn't a ton going on. Weapons are in the same situation with them being open to anything, and our exotic armor piece is Relativism. Specifically, a Liar/Syntheseps plus Caliban roll. These perks cause powered melees to become single target and room clearing monsters, which, as the build suggests, relies on Combination Blow, specifically for the stacking increase to melee damage. You run that in Gambler's Dodge, which is refunded by Combination Blow kills, and your build is pretty much done. Our super, grenade, and aspects can actually be whatever you want. Usually our aspects are some combination of Stylish Executioner, Winter Shroud, and Inspector, and then the fragments aren't super important. Here I run Protection for some DR, Ruins, so ignitions caused by Spirit of Caliban clear entire rooms, Torches for some free Radiant, Courage so that any darkness debuffed enemies get punched harder, and then Blessing so melee kills start health regen, but that last one could probably get swapped. And then just like for Warlocks, armor mods might as well not exist. Everything is contained and looped by our exotic armor piece and subclass, so feel free to use whatever mods you want. The artifact though did get a bit more involved, with Galvanic Armor making a return, Solar Fulmination being a good option for stronger ignitions, and then Transference can also be cool to increase our melee damage while Transcendent. And then the gameplay loop, it's somehow even more simple than Warlock's, with it being dodge, then punch. 2 buttons, over and over. But will this goofy hunter build be dethroned come Revenant? Probably not. If anything, it could get better due to Conductive Cosmic Needle, which means when paired with Winter's Shroud for the slow effect, our arc melee will deal some amount of increased damage to those enemies. This is going to require some testing, but there is a very real chance that you see even more hunters using this build. So for my punchy hunters, we do lose our old artifact, but that single mod might make up for all of it. And ultimately, as we move into this stasis focused season, I'm not sure if there's a stasis hunter build that's quite as potent. And then to finish it off with our titans, I do genuinely feel bad because there's really only one titan build out there right now. Consecration Slam with a number of rolls on stoicism. Inmost Light is cool, Contact is cool, but these genuinely don't matter. You could honestly run base Synthos, and I actually know a lot of people that do that. All you really need is the Consecration aspect paired with Frenzied Blade. This gives you 3 charges to do what you will with. If you put Knockout on, you get increased melee damage and amplified on melee kills, and the build is pretty much done. The big thing with this one is getting Transcendent to spam more melees, but at the very least, Light comes extremely easily with the ignitions from Consecration, which then allows you to invest in dark damage elsewhere, with things like the Call or a Glacier Grenade. And then fragment wise, pretty much the same as the Hunter melee build, Ruin for larger ignitions and shatters, Protection for DR, Courage for more ability damage, Purpose for survivability, and then where it differs a bit is with balance, so that we get some melee back on Consecration kills. Then armor mods are, again, anything you want. I promise one day I'll get into some builds that need armor charge, but we're not there yet. And then for our artifact, it has us with Galvanic Armor for the DR, Solar Fulmination for deadlier ignitions, then Shield Crush and Transference for dipping into melee damage and melee regen. And then somehow the gameplay loop is even shallower. You slide and you melee. 1 ability. You pop Transcendent when you can, and that's it. I'm starting to realize that these builds are pretty foolproof. And with Revenant's new sandbox, this isn't going anywhere. I don't know if it has the possibility to get stronger like the Hunter one, but our new artifact perks are pretty separated from anything in this build. The most we could capitalize on is when we freeze things if we run Glacier Grenade, but that's about it. However, you could forfeit the melee damage increase from our exotic armor piece since ignitions are usually enough, and run exotics like Hoarfrost Z or the new Blastwave Striders, all while still consecrating all over the place. So you do have a little bit more stasis investment there. Ultimately though, if you can Consecration Slam, your build is good. And I think that's actually it. These were the 3 best builds over the past episode, and I don't think the charts are going to change much come Revenant. If you have any input on how you think the landscape of builds are going to change, do you think the 3 new exotics are the new hot stuff? Personally, I think we'll probably see a lot of them in the first week, and then you're going to see a lot of what we covered in this video. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below. And if you watched this far, thank you so much. I'm very excited to get some more content out for you come Revenant. And also, regarding the channel, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers. I would love to have you with me as we hit that milestone. And if you like what I do, you want to support the channel, a like, a comment, a subscription goes a long way. And if you want to support me and support the channel, but you can't think of a comment down below, best builds. And with that, as usual, I hope you are having a great day, and I hope to see you around.